Hello, welcome back to Nobby on Cars. The Volkswagen Multivan is kind of all the car or van you'd ever need in your life. So when I was growing up, there was always at least a few Mas on the school run, and sometimes dads, but mainly Mas, who had people carriers. And they kind of do everything because you can configure the inside of this 7-seater multivan to have a bigger boot, a smaller boot, more interior space, seats facing this way in the back, seats facing that way in the back, whatever way you like. This one is a plug-in hybrid. It'll do 40 kilometers. There is a straight up petrol version. There's also a 2-litre diesel. And that's probably the one that I'd go for if I was buying it, price dependent on your budget. So the car starts from mid-50s and you can go as bizarre as you like, depending on whether you like matrix headlights and full leather interior, or what colour you like, or what wheels do you like. Do you like panoramic glass roofs? Do you like climate in the back? Do you like electric sliding doors or manual ones? There's loads of ways you can configure the multivan, but let's have a good look around inside and see if it could be your next passenger vehicle. There are 20 different safety systems that you can get on this car, including blind spot and a wonderful 360-degree camera, which just gives you a great bird's eye view if you're trying to park this thing, because as much as it has screens and all that, every little bit helps. These windows open. If you want a chip van style side window. These are the electric sliding doors on both sides of the vehicle, and the interior is quite interesting. So this isn't actually the full leather, it's kind of Alcantara with leather. I've sat in the full leather version of a diesel multivan. That was also quite a pleasant experience. But the really interesting thing about this van is, what do we call it a car? I don't know. It's like, it hasn't got a cargo area. So you can configure these seats in loads and loads of different ways. So you can have them flat here in the first row in the middle. You can have them upright. You can turn them the other way around. That's not the biggest deal in the world. There's a little red tag here. I'm not going to do it today because I know it works, but it will take me half an hour to probably try and do it on camera because it's on camera. Also in here then there's good space for more storage of bags. There's runners along the inside of the car so you can adjust exactly where these seats lie. So because there's runners along the inside of the multivan, you can say, I want more space here for bags. I want to push this seat all the way back. Whatever way you want it to work really is up to whatever way you want your multivan to work. And then in here, there is a table that pops up, much like an aircraft, and opens out like this. There's loads of storage in the middle of that too. Another pretty unique characteristic of the multivan is all of these seats in the back have got their own individual Isofix. So you can put 5 Isofix seats in the back of that, should you want to, and then book yourself in for the snip. If you take all the seats out of this, you'll get 3,672 litres in the standard version. There's like a long version also. This is an electric boot release, which is good because it's heavy. It actually goes down quicker than it goes up. And there's loads of little cleverness here. For example, this shelf that dips down this way if you don't want to use it. Shopping hooks. There's little drawers underneath the rear set of chairs. You've got storage for your cables. There's netting. And there's removable torches from the back also, which have been ripped out of a Skoda. There's also 2 lights under here, and it's a nice big shelter. But don't get me wrong, there isn't a huge amount of space in that part of the boot if you are using all the seats all of the time. Pretty handy feature on that is that you can open and close the door with the key fob. And as I've explained, yeah, there's just endless levels of configuration and practicality that make life with this vehicle very adaptable to whatever needs you have. You have a huge panoramic glass roof. You get automatic air conditioning, climate control back here for your passengers. They get their own air vents back here. I've actually been transported around in one of these in Germany by Volkswagen at an event. And it's a great place to be sitting. You know, there's plenty of space. You can adjust things so easily. You have yourself extra leg room back here, should you wish. The table, very, very easy to use. And, you know, if you're not using, for example, this seat, or you want a bit more space in your boot, you can just roll this one forward or back, or this seat forward or back, whatever the case may be, and make your multivan work for you. Very much built for comfort up here in the front of your multivan, so you get a very car-like feeling steering wheel and displays. You have a huge dashboard, like you could change a baby's nappy up there, although it's at a bit of an incline. Decent size screen in colour, high-res graphics. You can program it to charge at certain times, preheat in the mornings. You've got loads of ambient light colours. Software is generally all right. You've got sat-nav built in here as well. Haven't had any crashes with it or any kind of sluggishness. You've got wireless charging down here. Now again, not all models will have all these bits. Cup holder for 2 cups. Plenty of storage around you in the bins and the side of the car, and very high quality materials used, like fine grain wood here. Not a huge glove box, but there's that, and then there's more storage also in here for keeping things out of sight. You've got loads of space down here for further baggage. Got captain chair, armrests, and plenty of lumbar support and different adjustments that you might want to make with the car. And also you have your own separate glass panoramic roof here, but they don't obviously open, they're just for letting in light. Your gear selector is just here in the plug-in hybrid version of the vehicle, and it's very, very easy to use. You don't get an illuminated strip here. That is coming on new versions of Volkswagens, and you've got 4 shortcut buttons taking you to climate and your mode of drivetrain. Now, something to bear in mind, if you have the car plugged in and charged, it will regularly default to E mode only. If you want to use petrol and E and just have a kind of a longer lasting battery life, it's just over 13 kilowatt hours battery. Take you about 4 hours in a wall box to charge it. It'll only do 3.6 kilowatt speeds. So you need to make sure that's on the hybrid setting. You can also charge this on the move if you like. You can maintain a minimum amount of charge if you go into a zero emissions area, stuff like that. You can do all that very, very easily inside the multivan. I don't have enough friends to fill this up to tell you that it's still nippy when you have a load of people in it. But I can say from carrying a few passengers, there is always plenty of urgency pulling away from a stop or a set of lights, and if you have it charged, even more so. And well, if you charge it, which I have been doing, you'll achieve about 6.3 litres per 100 kilometres. I've charged it with the petrol engine just for the purpose of the review as well, and it's doing about 6.6 litres per 100 kilometres. So not a massive difference for using the petrol engine to actually put some energy back into the car. It's a great sitting position, nice and high up. This A-pillar does kind of have a bit of a blind spot because it's so large. But speaking of blind spot, you do actually have that in your mirrors, which makes life easy. There's lumbar support in the front passenger and driver seats, so they make things comfortable. It's just like driving a car, just a larger car really, but there's plenty of safety aids on board, as I mentioned at the start of the video, which will help driving the vehicle in tighter spaces and parking and stuff like that. The brakes do, again, like any PHEV, suffer from that. It's using regen braking at the start of the vehicle and then moves to friction. So there might be times when you really want to stamp on the brakes to ensure you're coming to a full stop. Multivan is reasonably okay around corners. No huge body roll, kind of just lays fairly flat through the corners, but you will be, you know, finding yourself not exactly hurling through them. If you wanted to drive on full EV mode, you might achieve 30 kilometers from a single charge. It is not the most aerodynamic of vehicles in the world. So if you're buying it for a pure EV mode, make sure your journeys are fairly short and that perhaps you can charge at the other end as well. Ideally for free around a workplace, because then, you know, it really will run on fresh air almost. It's just hard to get away from the practicality of the multivan. It does so much in so many different ways. And if you aren't carrying maximum capacity all the time, then you can configure the boot to have lots of space as well. So it kind of does the best of both worlds. And when you think about the entry price of it, it's actually, you know, not crazy compared to so many other cars in the market today. You could have much smaller EV models for around about the same price. So if space is more of your thing, you like something that can take you off on a picnic sometime, or maybe go on holidays every year to France, this would be the perfect car to take with you on the ferry, there's no doubt about it. For me, with the extra torque required to carry a load of passengers though, I still think diesel could be where it's at for the multivan. As much as this is, you know, a really, well, relatively efficient thing to run should you charge it. It's also worth pointing out how quiet it is. Like, there's no huge noise over the pillars or anything like that. It is quite refined overall, so it's a fairly kind of, dare I say, luxurious place to sit, as luxurious as 7-seater people carriers can be. Anyway, time for my summary. The multi-use multivan. If you need something that carries lots of people in relative comfort and style, to be fair, something that is quite comfortable to be a passenger in or drive, it's quite smooth, you've got a great mix of lineup of engines, and if you want one that runs efficiently, well, you can by getting the plug-in hybrid as long as you charge it at home. Entry level at €55,000. Obviously it's ruling out grants and things like that because it's a plug-in hybrid, so it's not going to be the cheapest car to buy, but it is something that you could probably run for 10 years, carry lots of people, and look back on it very, very fondly. So thank you for coming with me this far on this review of the Volkswagen Multivan. Have you got one? Have you got the old Caravelle? How did that work out for you, or Transporter? Let us know how you get on, and would you go for something like this to bring your people carrier into 2023 and beyond? Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.